Good evening, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Wednesday, the 15th of January. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay. Well, on the post this morning, I hope you read it. If you did, you'll know that basically we've gone from inflection point 1 to inflection point 2. And this is the key inflection point if we are going to open up a move to the highs. Now, in terms of the short term, we've got a head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders here. It's got a target in the 60-15 area. We managed to tag 6,000 and we are pausing slightly. Chances are we're going to see a little bit of a retracement here. And then I'm thinking after that, probably I'm thinking leaning towards finger in the air, retracement into tomorrow lunchtime, maybe, possibly all day tomorrow. Then we see a move up to see if we can get over it. Now, I'm hoping the retracement will be limited, and I'll show you where in the RTH charts. In the meantime, the buy signal made the full target, and we've got a possible weak 60-minute sell signal brewing, which I'm not taking particularly seriously, even though we do have 3 of these now, but they're only weak ones, and I'm not really expecting a lot from them. We've got another one, though even weaker. No, actually, we haven't got one on NQ. That has broken up towards the IHS target as well. This has actually been lagging SPX, which is a slight bit of a concern because really I'm kind of expecting this to retest the high too. But I'm hoping it will catch up. We've got an IHS here. We've got a target just above the monthly pivot, and I've got that target in about the 21,600 area. And we made it up a long way, about 2/3 of the way so far, but I'm expecting to get it the rest of the way. All right, RTY, nice move up here. Now we've got a kind of asymmetric double bottom here, which I'm thinking may well deliver. That would be, its resistance is at the monthly pivot. I do like it when resistance is at the monthly pivot, and it gives a nice clear picture of where you are. And a sustained break up over that will have basically looking at a serious shot at retesting 2,500, although technically the target range would be in about the 2410 area to I think about 2440. YM, we've got the buy signal made target. We've got a possible weak 60-minute sell signal brewing there too. That nice move up. Resistance is really up here, just above the monthly pivot at the possible asymmetric double bottom here too. Now, we'll see how this goes, but I'm a little skeptical. This is IWM and Dow had fallen a lot more than the other two. I'm slightly skeptical about these getting back to the all-time highs, but if they accelerate, then that is an option. Equally, if SPX and NDX overshoot significantly, then that is also an option. So we shall see, because we've got targets that are retest the all-time highs, but that's just a target. If it gets there, the question is when does it stop? If SPX and NDX go high enough, even if IWM and Dow are still lagging, they can still make it back to their high retest, and we'll just go a bit higher on the other two. We shall see. All right, looking at DAX. DAX, we've now got a little bit of negative divergence. We've got a very, very weak divergence here. So we've got a possible very weak 6-minute sell signal brewing. I'm not taking it particularly seriously. I was expecting to see a retest of this high here, and we've seen it. ESTX, I was expecting to probably see a high, and we've seen it. And we don't have any negative divergence on this one. So we've got 3 possible weak 60-minute sell signals brewing, and they're not the only sell signals. I've got quite a few 15s here, but I'll go through and show you those on the RTH chart. So let's have a look at those. All right. Okay, let's start with SPX. Now, ES closed pretty much on the daily middle band, and that was, I've got that on 59.89 close against 59.88 for the daily middle band. So that was basically a close on the band. But on SPX, and SPX is the tail, and ES is the dog. On SPX, we saw a significant break above it. It wasn't huge, but it was significant. The daily middle band closed the day at about 59.34, and we got pretty much 59.50. On the SPX daily. Now, if you have a look, I've been talking about this as key resistance, and I've been talking about the last 2 rallies, which both failed there. These are those 2 rallies. What can you notice about them? Well, one thing you've heard me say before, if you've been following me for a while, is on a pretty regularly actually, is that if you see a break back up over the band or a breakdown below the band, the obvious time you'll generally, if you're going to reject though, you should see that within a day or two, and then usually that would be the next day, and that of course would be tomorrow. So if you're going to see that, then like this one here, we broke up. Next day we came back down, closed on the band, and then dropped through it. Here we broke up through it, and then actually we moved, we gapped above it, and then closed back below. So I mean, we never really had a close above here, but you can see what I'm talking about the test and rejection. So if we are going to see a rejection, the most likely day to see that is tomorrow. All right, no divergence on the daily chart here, although I would note that on Dow, we had a possible weak RSI 14 buy signal brewing, and it's now fixed. And we've actually got a weak RSI 14 and a full RSI 5 buy signal, which are fixed on the IWM chart. But they're the only ones we've got on the daily. All right, SPX on the hourly chart, we've still got a weak RSI 14 buy signal. That's reached the possible near miss target, so no strong divergence there. We've got a tiny bit of negative divergence here, but mainly what I'm doing is I'm watching 15. 15, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Sorry, I put the arrow in there. I should have put that in to fix this. But and we've got an RSI 5 sell signal, which has fixed as well. On the IHS on SPX here, which is the one I'd mainly be looking at rather than the S, although the S one is almost identical. We were 15 handles short of target, and I'm still expecting that target to be made, but I am thinking that we might see a bit of retracement first. I'm hoping that retracement, given particularly that we've got help tomorrow, that we've the middle band is still declining. I'm expecting that to be at the same level or lower tomorrow. So I'm just hoping that over the day, the SPX can hold the line and deliver another close above it. That would be nice to see. If we fall back and close below, well, as I said, history suggests that we may just keep falling. And that wouldn't be unusual. You can see a lot of these tests that we see on the daily middle band from above, test, move up, test, smallish move up, and then a drop down. Here we got a test, significant move up. I mean, you can see you quite often follow through on fails. So what I'm hoping to not see tomorrow for the bull case is a fail. All right, let's have a look at the Qs. Qs, we've come back up, and we're testing the daily middle band. We did not close above it, and we need to get back above it. But the main resistance I'm watching here is at the bull flag resistance here. Now, we never had a topping pattern here. It could have been, obviously, the flag itself, and I put in the arrows for if this followed through on the breakdown. It hasn't done that, so this is looking very like a bullish underthrow, but we need to confirm that with a break over the flag resistance, which I've got in the 522.5 area, and that break up from the flag will set up a target at a retest the all-time high at 538.28. Now, on the hourly chart, we've got a possible RSI, sorry, that's a 15-minute chart. Sorry. On the 15-minute chart, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing and an RSI 5 sell signal fix. So that is exactly what we're seeing again on the SPX chart, and actually where the pattern today and where the IHS is are almost identical. The IHS will not get us up to the resistance. We'll need to follow through up beyond that. But that is the key resistance. We're not there yet. We're testing key resistance on SPX already. If that gets through it, then that'll be very encouraging for the others following. On Dia, we broke back over the daily middle band today. That wasn't the key resistance there. What I was looking at, and we broke over the flag resistance there, but that wasn't the key resistance either. The key resistance I was talking about is where it landed at the close of the day. And this is at the possible larger double bottom resistance, because we had the small double bottom that broke up this morning. Actually, no, I had that as an IHS, but we've already made target on that. But this little line here, this is the resistance that we're looking at now. And this is the possible larger, slightly asymmetric double bottom resistance. Now, this could be an inverted head and shoulders. And if we see a deepish retracement here, it could be that we're forming a right shoulder there. But I prefer not to see that, because it may be that if we came back down here, we wouldn't go back. So on the bull case, I would like to see some decline tomorrow, but not a lot by the end of the day. At the close, I'd like it to be relatively close to where it is now, particularly on SPX. But if we see a break up from here, this again gives us a target that puts us within striking distance of a retest of the all-time high. So that would be good to see. Okay, let's have a look at IWM. Okay, on the IWM chart, we've got on the daily chart, we have broken back over the daily middle band, pretty confidently gapped over it this morning, kept going. That's encouraging. We've got an RSI 45 buy signal fixed, that's getting pretty close to the possible near miss target, and we've got a weak RSI 14 buy signal fixed here too. It's encouraging for the bull case that we've got these buy signals on Dow and IWM. It'd be even more encouraging if we had them on the others as well, but we don't. Okay, looking at the hourly chart, we've got a decent looking flag here. This would be a bullish underthrow. And I do in the, again, flag breaks down targets here, but we've not been following that. So at the moment, this looks like we're going to be heading back up into flag resistance, and that is key resistance on IWM. It's this level here, 231. We need to break up from it and follow through rather than, because sometimes you'll just break up and fail. So we don't want to do that. And really, this is suggesting that we're going to see that break up. So obviously price has got to follow through on that. There are no certainties in this, as I was mentioning on the post this morning. We don't have any negative divergence on the 15-minute chart, but you can see we've actually got an asymmetric double bottom here too. I've got the resistance at 227.17. Break and convert that, and potentially we could go back to the all-time high here. But as I said, I've got slight concerns there because I'm concerned that the distance that Dow and IWM have to cover is rather disproportionate to the distance that NDX and SPX do. So if they all make new all-time highs, SPX and NDX will make new highs by a significant margin, and we need to watch out for that. I'm expecting to see a larger retracement happen soon, and it could be just after a retest of the highs on SPX and NDX, but we will need to see whether we see follow through from that and get a decent sell setup. I'm hoping we'll get some nice decent sell setups because I think there's going to be quite a lot of volatility this year, and it would be nice to get some really nice setups and get some nice trades going. This could be a very good trading year. Fingers crossed, but obviously it's nice to get the setups to get that. All right, looking at DAX. DAX, new all-time high today, looking good. Nikkei hasn't really moved from this morning, but I don't think we've actually had a trading session since this morning. We'll see how this does overnight. I would like to see this recover and start thinking about retesting this high here at 42.4. All right, great. Let's have a look at the dollar. Okay, dollar pulling down a bit here today. I'm really going to try and get a post out on Friday. So I've been very distracted. Kids been going back to university. My ex had a nasty accident, and I've been helping her through that. And because I'm way too nice for my own good, so it's just been kind of busy. But I'm trying to knock out a post today, and this week I want to do a bigger picture one on the dollar, talking about the inflection point here, where we can either fail here, or if we break up through here, then we're probably going to head up into a retest of the high in the 114.75 area. Both of those as targets would be entirely acceptable. We've got a reasonable setup to reverse here, which I will be going through, and we may well do that, but otherwise we'll probably head up into the retest. Okay, ZB. Inflation looks as though it was coming down, and so ZB went up because that suggests that there will be pressure on interest rates to go down. We will see how that goes. I've got to say, look on the TNX chart, I'm going to be looking hard at the obvious next targets. So let's have a look at those now. All right, let's have a look at DX first. On DX, on the RSI 14, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. We're coming down fairly close into a test of the daily middle band, and if we test that, then obviously it may break down through it, and that could be a sign with the RSI 14 sell signal fixing as well that actually this move up is done. Now, what have we got in favor of this move? Well, the first thing is when we were down here, and we hadn't actually started the rally yet, I was talking about this rally as potential because we had a lot of positive divergence here, and it was a nice looking setup. When I was talking about this being the target here, this trend line here. Now, I'd posited that trend line because we had this trend line, which is a lovely three-touch trend line, and I said these normally come in a pair, and so this would be the obvious alternate to that. And when we broke up through this trend line here, then I said, well, if this is a trend line down here, then the obvious corollary to that would be here. So I said we had a pretty good chance of reaching this trend line in the 109.5 area, and we've reached it. And if that is a pattern, then we're probably going to fail here. So that's the pattern setup that I'm wondering will see this failing here. It's not the strongest setup for a fail here, but I'm thinking it might well happen, in which case we could be looking on the bigger picture at A, B, and C. Which wasn't quite the setup I was looking at. If we go up to retest the 114.75, that would be a more bearish looking setup. Let's show you that on the bigger picture. Okay, if this is basically a B, and we see a C down, then I'd be thinking in terms of a target here, probably to get us down into maybe the 95 area. If this was a flag, obviously it depends what kind of pattern formed. There would be some movement either side, but I wouldn't be thinking in terms of this being a double top. But if we can get up into this area here, we can get a double top, which potentially on a move down from sustained breakdown from 99.22 could get us all the way down into about the 84 area. Do these sort of things fix and play out on US dollar? You bet they do. This is the target of the US dollar going back 50 years, and we got quite a few of these. And actually, US dollar likes double tops and double bottoms. We had a double top there, we had a double bottom there, we had a double bottom there. I'm just saying, there's a lot of history on these. Now, this was a head and shoulders, for instance. It's not always double tops and double bottoms, but I've been looking around for a reversal pattern here, and I haven't seen one. And either I'm not seeing one because we're not reversing, in which case the target might just be to get on this very nice megaphone, beautiful three-touch resistance trend line there. What's the opposite trend line to that? It's this one. And I've got that currently in about the 95 area, and if we were forming a bull flag, then I was just saying a moment ago, then I'd be looking for a target which would be in about the 95 area. We could go down and get that, and then bull flag would see us coming back up and retesting the high, and potentially going up into megaphone resistance, which is currently at about the 120 area. So we'll see how that goes. But if we're forming a topping pattern here and we break through this trend line here, then that's actually a pretty good chance we will reach 85. So I'm watching to see what happens here, but those are the two main scenarios I'm looking at, and we'll see which one delivers. Okay, let's have a look at TNX. We've got a rising wedge here, and I was thinking that if this wedge holds true, then we could see a significant retracement here, and potentially we could see a large rally on ZB while TNX headed down to this trend line here, which is currently in the 43.75 area. It doesn't necessarily need to happen that way, and on the bigger picture, this is a flag, it's broken up, and unless we're going to form a larger flag here, which I would be wondering about if we saw a breakdown back below 43 and this trend line here. Unless we're going to do that, the flag has a target and a retest this high at 49.97, and that would get us a potential double top. I'm not saying that double top would break down, because it might not. But it would get us into a very big inflection point here, where we could either be forming a double top and then break down and interest rates go significantly lower. Because I was saying before the Fed cut interest rates by 0.5%, that actually the Fed always had an issue here, because it's not actually the Fed who sets interest rates. They said the guideline interest rates, the actual interest rates, are set by the bond market. And that's one thing I'm hoping to do a post about next week. And so the question is, how happy is the bond market going to be? Now, that depends on many things. But if we get tariffs, then that's going to put upward pressure on inflation. The national debt is at nosebleed levels already. If there's going to be a load of extra borrowing, that's going to make the bond market unhappy and give us what in Britain you'd understand to be a Liz Truss moment, where the bond market loses confidence and interest rates start heading up fast. And that's why Liz Truss, who was Prime Minister 2 or 3 years ago, only lasted about 3 weeks in office, because she did a budget, the bond market reacted very badly, interest rates went up, and she was thrown out of office. Now, I'm not saying that would happen to Trump, but it would cause trouble, no question. And it would mean that plans would likely get modified, because if the bond market's really unhappy, you can't borrow money. And right now, if you're running large deficits, you have to borrow money. Unless you're just going to get completely crazy and just start printing. So that's where we are on the bond market. So this I'm seeing as an inflection point of 5, and I've got an IHS here. It's not the greatest looking IHS, but it's an IHS with a target at 8.1. If things head heavily south in the bond market because there's a lot of trouble because of spending plans, inflation, etc. If inflation goes up, interest rates will tend to go up in response. If spending, if the bond market loses confidence that the government has a plan for paying back the money it is continuing to borrow, interest rates will go up to reflect that, an increased risk of default. So is it possible we can get to 8.1? Yes. And if you look at this, and the reason I'm showing you this big bond chart here, which goes back into the 70s, is to show you this was the bull market in bonds upside down. This is the bear market in yields. Over that period, it was a monster. If we got up to 8.1, that would be almost exactly a 50% retracement of that move. How routine are 50% retracements? You see them all the time. So actually, that 8.1 it's nothing due to our experience over this period here, basically so far in the millennium, is of low interest rates, always pretty much under 5%. That's not usually the case. Actually, they go over 5% quite a lot, and really, they might be about to. The other thing is, this was a huge bull market in bonds, and a bear market in yields. I was saying back in 2020 that chances are that bull market in bonds was over now, and typically the bear market in bonds, which would likely follow cyclically and historically, would likely last somewhere between 10 and 20 years. We're 5 years in. We have a long way to go, and chances are that rates will go considerably higher in that period. Will that be next year? Who can say, but it might be. And there's actually a number of reasons to think that it might happen next year. So I'm watching that with great interest. All right, let's have a look at CL, where we saw a break up over 80 today. Now, I was saying this was a potential breakup, and this is looking like an actual breakup. NG, still got a potential level top here. At the moment, energies are breaking up. I'm not entirely certain why they're breaking up, but they are breaking up. That needs to be respected. Not sure where that's headed. I will be working on it to see what I can come up with in the way of patterns and levels and potential targets. But at the moment, we're just in potential breakup mode on both. Now, one thing I would say on oil is that Trump's planning to produce an awful lot more of it. Equally, however, he's planning to tighten sanctions on both Iran and Russia. So, I mean, there's a number of factors in play here, and oil prices could go up or down on that. On natural gas, I'm moderately bullish over the next few years of natural gas, but what I would say is that we are in a seasonal decline period. We usually make a significant low sometime between, well, December really and April. And I haven't seen one yet. Now, we don't do that every single year, but we do it most years. So I am wondering whether we're going to see a significant reversal here, see gas prices come down, and then maybe follow through to the upside. So we will see. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, let's have a look at CL. Okay, CL, we've now actually gone up high enough that we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing and a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing on CL. On WTIC, we have the same. Same signal, full size on the RSI 5. We've got a weak one, so weak I haven't actually put it in here, but it is valid. It's just a big scale chart. What have we done here that's really significant? Well, we broke up slightly over this triangle resistance, which is the main resistance I was watching, and I said if we did that, really for me that would cancel this target down at 63.57 and be a potential breakup. We've now pulled back a bit and followed through on that breakup. Now, that's not necessarily going to say we're going to go a lot higher, but it is opening up the road to go higher. And we will see. Could this be a double bottom? Yeah, it's not pretty. Equally, the other thing we could be doing here is we could be forming a bear flag. This triangle could be morphing into a bear flag, and that would be A, B, C, or it could be a triangle. If it's a triangle, we'd be looking at the next target probably up in about the 90 area. If it's a flag, then we could be looking at a target in the 100 area. Either way, we could go up a lot higher than this before it comes back down again. Now that the level's been breached, we're back over the 200 DMA. We're back over this trend line here. A lot of resistance has fallen so far. We could just reject, but if we don't, then I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to head up another $10 and maybe 20. So we will see. All right, natural gas. Natural gas, I've got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Not sure how seriously to take that. If you look at the index chart, which is the best one to look at here, then what have we got here? Well, I was saying when we made this, then made this, and we've now made this trend line here. The next obvious target actually in this sequence would actually be a test of this move, this trend line here at about 3.5 area. I am wondering whether we might go and see that next. We are looking a little toppy, and we have hit some trend line resistance, and we've got a nice three and arguably 4 touch resistance trend line there. I'm thinking we're probably going to see a bit of consolidation here. I could be mistaken though. Energies have been unexpectedly strong. We shall see. All right, let's have a look at metals. Now, GC has been shrugging off action on the dollar recently and has been surprisingly bullish. This often means that there's basically a significant wave up, which is waiting for permission from the dollar, basically. It's waiting for the dollar to be in the right position to go up. I'm leaning towards this being fairly bullish action. We do have a possible weak 6-minute sell signal brewing. Actually, it's a full-size one now. And SI, no current divergence there. I'm leaning towards the upside here. And potentially, even if the dollar continues going up, as long as it's not going up too fast. HG, that's a nice breakout. It's looking good. We had a lovely looking double top here, and it just ran straight through it. It's all right. Let's have a look at that on the bigger picture chart. Those on the bigger picture charts too. Okay, looking at GC. No current divergence, but a retest of this high here at 27.35 would get some possible RSI 5 divergence on the daily going. We have what looks like a triangle here. This looks like a slight breakup. I'd be reading this A, B, C, D, E. We could be about to break up, in which case the target would be a retest. This would be a bullish consolidation pattern, and the next target would be a retest of the all-time high at 26.30. Looking at silver, not as clear on silver, but we do. What is very clear here is we had a nice looking head and shoulders. It broke down, and at the moment it may fail. It hasn't failed yet, and to get there, to fail, it just needs to get to 33, 34 and get over this right shoulder high. If it can do that, then that gives us a target back at 35.07, and I think a pretty good chance of making that. All right, let's have a look at the palladium chart. Palladium, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing. We've also got a nice looking double bottom, which has got a target in the 10.20 area, and I think that's got a pretty good shot at making a target on platinum. Platinum, this has been unexpectedly bearish. This could be an IHS right shoulder forming, a little oversized maybe. It's a little messy for my comfort either way. We don't have any divergence really pointing the way. On copper, we had a buy signal. That's made target. We've got a potential double bottom here, which is breaking up, but it could still be a flag, but it's looking like a double bottom to me. We are breaking over the 200 DMA at the moment, which is a significant resistance level. I'm liking this to the upside. I know the Chinese building sectors is in a bit of a mess, but certainly from a technical point of view, this looks pretty good. We'll see how that goes. We don't have any bigger buy signals, but we don't have anything suggesting it's going to go down really, apart from, well, we've got some. It's looking a bit overbought on the daily RSI 5. We could use a consolidation at some point in the near future, but what I do have on the futures, although less so on the RTH chart, on the futures I've got a double bottom here which is broken up with a target range in the 4.6 to 4.675 area. I'd like to see that target made, and I think it's got a decent shot. All right, looking at GDX, no current divergence here. We have broken up over this declining resistance on the wedge. On GDXJ, we haven't quite broken up, but we are about to come to the test. Short term, we've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing on the hourly charts on both GDX and GDXJ, and I'm wondering if we might see a bit of a pullback, but it may be that divergence will disappear as it is pulled up by gold, which I have to say is not looking bearish. So we will see. All right, let's have a look at KC. KC, we've still got a flag. It's still breaking up, and it's still got a target to retest this high unless it's morphing into a larger pattern. On SB, I had this was a nice double bottom setup. We were working on it for a while. It was very nice. I had daily RSI 5 and RSI 14 buy signals, and then we saw this decline down. I was saying on the pre-market videos that this was not good. And actually it's failed both of my daily buy signals. So, the setup is gone. It's unfortunate. This has opened up further downside. I'll talk more about that on the daily chart. Okay, on CC, this is a really, really nice triangle. It's sweet. And generally speaking, this will break up 70% of the time, and the target will be a retest of this high. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. If we see a significant breakdown, then we should head to at least the bottom, a rejection back to the lows. But basically, this is a bullish consolidation. It's a triangle. It's a lovely classical triangle, and I was saying it this morning, and it hasn't done. And it's pretty much where it was this morning. It's had a bit of action in the meantime and tested resistance again. But really, this should break up. We will see how it goes. Apologies, I'm having a slight internet connection. I'm going to pause this. Right, okay. Sorry, I had a slightly. I think in the evening, the internet gets a little spotty. I think it's when they do their maintenance. All right, ZW. ZW, we've got a potential. We've actually got three little double top bottoms here, although there's more of a part-formed IHS. The smallest one has broken up with a target in the 563 area. It's not been showing a great deal of interest in heading there at the moment. But this looks like a little bull flag or triangle and should head up into that target next. On corn, we are kicking around at the highs. We've got a 6-minute sell signal fixed, but no enthusiasm for retracement so far. On soy, I've got a nice looking megaphone here, and at the moment, it's coming back from the high. It may be heading back into this trendline support, which I've got in about the 1003 area. We had a sell signal here. It's already made target. Okay, looking at CT. Possible bottoming action here. Not really possible to say any more than that. Lumber. Really not sure what's happening here. I do not have a good grip on the pattern setup, if there is one. But at the moment, I'm not really seeing anything. Live cattle. Live cattle should be heading back up into retest this high. It almost made it today. And lean hogs has broken up from this falling megaphone and looking for a flag to form here. And then with any luck, we will see a move up towards a retest of this high, which would be in about the 89.5 area. Okay, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, KC. RSI 14 sell signal is fixed. Not expecting that to impede going to back and retesting this high here at 3.484, and that is the obvious next target. I'm thinking it might play out afterwards though. SB. This was a shame. We had a lovely looking bottoming setup here, but you can see there was potential to break down into a retest of this low, and it's broken down into a retest of this low. It's almost made that. In the meantime, we lost the nice RSI 5, the nice full RSI 5 buy signal, and we lost the weak RSI 14 buy signal. So we have no current divergence, looking a little oversold short term, and we're reaching another support level. I'm watching to see whether we get a bottoming pattern form here. On CC, lovely triangle. It's just really nice, and we will see. No current divergence on wheat. We've got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed. Not been showing a great deal of enthusiasm for making target, but it's still got a shot. On CC, this has gone through the flag resistance, which is good news. So I was a bit worried this might be a bear flag, and it looks less likely to be a flag now. Short term, though, looks as though it's trying to retrace a bit. No real negative divergence here. So this could continue going up. On soy, we're seeing a bit of, we've got some reasons to think that we might head down a bit on the hourly chart. Bigger picture, I'm watching this trend line here at this possible IHS neckline here at 1100, and I think we might form an IHS right shoulder there when we get there, but that's not until 1100. We should go higher first. On CT, we've got a possible RSI 14 buy signal brewing. It's been brewing for a while. I was expecting to see a retest this low, and we've had that for a while. We had a nice looking double bottom set up, and it didn't deliver on it, and it is continuing to trickle down. And I have to say, if it trickles down much more, we're going to lose this nice bottoming setup. So I'd like to see a rally here. I'm unconvinced that CT agrees with me. So we shall see how it goes. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. Should be an interesting day tomorrow. I'm leaning towards seeing a bit of a retracement tomorrow, but I'm hoping to see another close over the daily middle band, at least 5 points over the daily middle band at the close tomorrow. That would be very encouraging for continuing this bullish leg up into the obvious target, which would be a retest of the all-time high on SPX and NDX, and possibly on IWM and Dow as well. We shall see how that goes. All right, great. In that case, I will catch you guys again on Sunday, and take care. And it should be an interesting market for the rest of the week, I think.